count down nicely. He always goes 5, 3, 1.
Bottom line is, he was rich and he was young. And he was a ruler, he was an influential person in the society.
Welcome to Energ-Aid, a program for young people just like you and I.
As growing up as a refugee and being able to go to school and being a doctor, you know, it was...
Wow.
Yes, because how do you learn more about him if you don't doubt?
You don't doubt. Wow.
By the way, you can't even trust God if you don't doubt. Do you know that?
Welcome to Energ-Aid. I am your host, Adela Jagoto. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about dealing with doubt. Here to help me is our pastor, Pastor JAG Phiri. Welcome, Pastor.
Thank you.
We want to talk about dealing with doubt. And when I say doubt, I'm not talking about I doubt that I'll go to school tomorrow or I doubt that I'm going to make it, but doubt as in doubting God. First of all, before we even dive into it, what is doubt? What does it mean to doubt God?
Doubt. That's a tough question. Well, I'll put it this way. Look at doubt as a question that is looking for an answer.
Okay.
So I would say doubt is a single question looking for a mate. I would say it's a bachelor or a spinster looking for a mate. That's what it is. By saying that, I should also have given you a picture to say that doubt is a neutral thing. It's not good, it's not bad. But if anything, doubt is a very important thing in life, because actually you're simply trying to say, I'm looking for an answer.
So
yes.
Essentially it can be good.
Yes, essentially it's a good thing. I'm looking for an answer, an explanation. Is that bad? No, it's good. Yes.
Can you mentioned that it's neutral, so it can be good. It's neither good, it's neither bad.
Yeah. Correct. It can be bad based depending on what you are trying to do with it.
Okay.
I may doubt for the sake of doubting, not necessarily because I'm looking for an answer. Then that's a problem, because actually it stops being a doubt at that moment. Because a doubt, a genuine thing as a doubt, it is something that should be possible, because you're looking for an answer, you are learning, you want to learn something. So I would say yes, essentially I could say it's good if it is just taken from the perspective of what a doubt is. But if you abuse it, then it becomes a problem in that perspective, yes.
So it's perfectly normal for us to doubt.
Correct. In fact, it is very healthy for you to doubt.
Really?
Even doubt God himself, yes. Correct.
Wow.
Yes, because how do you learn more about him if you don't doubt?
If you don't doubt. Wow.
By the way, you can't even trust God if you don't doubt. Do you know that? It's impossible for you to have faith without doubt.
And so, how do you think God looks at us when we doubt? Yeah.
You asking me a good question. I'll tell you something that may shock you, and many of those that may be viewing us. You know, the challenge with the church setup or religious groupings, we tend to begin to think like God is intimidated by our doubts. But the opposite is very true. God is a God who is a tolerant person when it comes to, or a tolerant being when it comes to doubts. In fact, he likes it when you doubt. At least the healthy doubt, because it simply tells you want to learn. Why should he be intimidated by that? Yeah. Actually, doubt is the honest feeling that you have. If you compare faith and doubt, I would say I would be suspicious of faith than I would be of doubt. If you doubt, you're honest.
Okay.
Faith, you can fake it. It's very simple to fake faith, but you cannot fake doubt, can you? Unless you're acting like a drama, which is not right. So doubt is an honest feeling. God loves that. I could even give examples in the Bible where people have doubted. God never even said, hey, why did you doubt me? He actually loved them for doubting him. You know that. So it's a question of how you understand doubt. Does God tolerate doubt? Yes. Can I doubt him? Yes. When my doubt is learning about him, but not doubting where I'm undermining. That I've already said, then it stops being a doubt. So doubt is a healthy. God is tolerant to doubt. It's good to doubt.
It's good to doubt.
Yes.
So essentially, if I'm doubting the healthy kind of doubt, then it's that's when obviously then it means reading more. Praying more. Correct.
Look at this. I'll give a good example. Of course, the example that I'm going to give you is one which has been highly misunderstood. I know for a good reason, because maybe even the comment with the Lord, which the Lord put, people have understood it in the negative. Let me give you the example of Thomas Didymus. You remember the story. If Christianity today is what it is, do you know why?
Why?
I would argue and say it is because of Thomas Didymus. He doubted. Here is somebody who said, I will resurrect, I will do stuff, I will do what? And he was killed. We all saw he is killed, buried. And there are all these stories to say that they've stolen him. If he was not to show up and people were able to touch him after he was resurrected, who was going to believe that? So it's only Thomas, when he doubted, he said, no, I don't believe in this stuff. And the Christ had to come and say, here I am, touch. So he did the whole thing. And now the authors of the Bible can say, we saw, we touched. So it's an empirical evidence that Christ is the risen Lord. So Christianity can never be defeated. Why? Because of a doubt. Somebody doubted, it provided a room for God to give evidence that no one can argue against. So you can see doubt can be good. Thomas did not doubt because he was just doubting people to undermine. He was doubting a healthy doubt, so to say, if you want me to differentiate, where he was trying to say, is it true? Has it really happened? Can I verify it? So God said, yeah, you can verify. Here I am. Do it. So after that, you can never move Thomas. I'm not surprised that that guy, if what we read about him, he was even willing to die the death he died at the hands of the Hindus. You know, that kind of thing. Yeah, because you doubted, you believe. What you doubt after you discover question, an answer to it, it becomes very difficult for you to reverse because you've discovered an answer to it. Yes, so it's okay to doubt. Yes.
Let's listen to an item of music and then we'll also talk about the other side.
Correct.
Yeah.
Faith of our fathers living still in spite of time, fire and sword. Oh, how our hearts beat high with joy whenever we hear that glorious word. Faith of our fathers, all in faith, we will be true to thee till death. Our fathers chained in prisons dark, where still in heart and conscience free, how sweet would be their children's fate by kindly words in virtuous life. Faith of our fathers, all in faith, we will be true to thee till death. Faith of our fathers, we love, but reign and fall in all our strife, and preach it true as love knows how, by kindly words and virtuous life. Faith of our fathers, holy faith, we will be true to thee till death. Faith of our fathers, holy faith, we will be true to thee till death.
Before the song, we were talking about dealing with doubt, and now as we continue, would like to talk about the other side of doubt, because we talked about the healthy kind of doubt where you've kind of got that yearning to understand more, you know, who is this God, you know, how big is he, you know, and that's a good thing,
Correct.
you know.
Correct.
But now we have people where they have experienced certain things in their lives. Often it comes with the loss of a loved one, or just when they keep trying, but things just don't work, and where they get to that point where they ask, is there a God? Why should I believe in him? You know, what would you say about that?
Yeah. It's a difficult situation. I sympathize with such kind of people who are going through that kind of experience. But it's normal to question. It's a fear. Actually, it's a grieving process. You are grieving and you're looking for somebody who could be sympathetic enough to come and say, John, don't worry, I'm here for you. But now you don't see that person. So what you actually see is sort of a protest that comes with anger at this God we have believed, but doesn't seem to care. So I wouldn't describe it as doubt as such, but actually it's faith, yearning for this thing they have believed in to come in and help. But yes, there are those who begin to say, out of the experience, they say, now I forget about the issue that I talked about, that God doesn't make sense, God doesn't exist, so they have created doubt. That is the inherent doubt I talked about. Now it stops to be doubt, it's not doubt. This is something else. You have decided to abandon faith, you have decided to do something else. So you're not even doubting, you have made the position. Because if I said God doesn't exist, I'm not doubting. It means I have made a position. For whatever reasons and evidence I can give you, I have those pieces of evidence. So I can say God doesn't exist. So to say that God doesn't exist is not a doubt. To say I don't know whether God exists is a doubt.
Yes. Okay, I see the difference.
You see the difference, right? Yeah, correct.
How can we... Okay, you've mentioned two groups of people.
Correct.
That you've got those who decide for themselves that... okay, there is no God, you know, he doesn't exist. But then you've also mentioned that, you know, there's the, I don't know, I'm not quite sure, you know, if God is actually listening to me.
Correct.
Let's look at these two groups of people.
Yes.
Let's start with the extreme where someone says, God doesn't exist.
God doesn't exist.
How can maybe we help that person, or how can we sympathize or just understand that person and help them to come back, you know, as Christians? Sometimes I feel that people just need a shoulder to lean on, like someone to be stronger for them.
Correct. Yeah, as I said, you need to be very careful in terms of somebody who says there's no God.
Yeah.
It could be somebody who is saying with an honest mind, they're genuinely looking at the evidences, pieces of evidence that is available to them. They can't make sense.
Yeah.
So for this one, I used to maintain that he's a doubter who is simply looking for answers.
Okay.
So for such kind of a person, it's a question of maybe sitting down with them, help them, share with them the things that you feel can help to see some evidences. It's hard to prove that there's God. It's a fact. You just have to accept it by faith. Okay, somebody who says, I don't believe there's no God, but they believe that the mother is still living elsewhere. They haven't seen whether she's still living or not.
Yeah.
So you see,
yeah.
even the person who says doesn't believe God exists just because he doesn't see them, believes things that they don't see. You ask them, does a bacteria exist? They'll tell you, yes. Yeah, they've proven it. But if you tell them, okay, could there be a bacteria here? They say, yeah, there's a possibility there's a bacteria. But they are not seeing it. So you can see it's just a question of a failure in logic, in understanding. At every level, all of us are limited to some extent. So it's a question of, as you put it, sympathizing, understanding, and appreciating that these people are genuine. So don't brand them as the people who are demonic, you know, kind of infidels, no. But appreciate that the level they are in, that's how they look at things. So move with them, take them wherever they are. And from there where they are, befriend them. You can share with them some of the pieces that can bring sense into them. When they come to their own senses, they begin to accept what you're talking about. Now, the other group where you're talking about because of disappointments, they begin to question the goodness of the Lord. It is something else. As I said, it's not doubt now, but this is anger, this is rebellion. This is where you say, even if you are there, I don't care who you are. So I know God is there, but I don't care because he doesn't care, so to say, to me. So for that kind of group of people, you may wish to sympathize with them, understand and appreciate that it's the pain, the experiences, the frustration they've gone in, that's what makes them be what they are. After all, even God himself is not embarrassed with what they're doing. He's not even angry because they're because they're just being honest. It's an honest feeling. You can't deny. If you're told you are feeling pain, would you say no? You're not feeling pain. You're crazy. You know that, because I'm telling you what I'm feeling. So this person says this God is an embarrassing God. He's just being honest. The only thing that I would do is maybe help them to understand that when we say God is a loving God and God is our Father, it doesn't immune us from the suffering that we're going through, because the world that we're in right now is infiltrated by sin, and it's not God who is causing that, but we understand that God is working so that this thing is eliminated once for all. So to be a person of faith, it's not an immunity against suffering, you know. In fact, by the way, do you know that the only recipe you need sometimes for you to suffer in this kind of arrangement where sin has infiltrated the world is to be faithful and be righteous. So you only need to be a holy person for certain experiences in your life to come, because the devil would want to hunt you down and all stuff. So when you suffer, don't look at God, look at what brings this suffering into the whole thing. So it may not be an easy thing to talk to that kind of person, but by sharing some snippets like these, personal experiences of how yourself have gone through certain experiences and how you overcame them, it would help. There are good stories in the Bible. You'll find like the story of Job. People have gone through the rough and tough of life. But how did they react? Then you say, look at this fellow. He's a human being like yourself. He went through the hardest moments of life, but look at the way so it's a question of attitude at the end of the day, how you look at what has happened to you. Should I smile because God has given him good? When there's evil, then I look at God as a bad God and curse him? So it's a question of how you look at things. Don't be too subjective, but be objective enough to assess the whole picture. That could be another way of helping. It is not the only way. As I've told you, it's a complex thing, because you're dealing with somebody who is going through pain and suffering. Yeah. The other thing could be if there's something that you can physically do or emotionally do to assist them. Assist them, because many times people would say that because they're feeling pain. Can I give you a good example?
Yes, go ahead.
Elijah. This is my favorite example in the Bible. Elijah. This guy is depressed. And even says, Lord, I'm throwing in a towel. Don't call me a prophet anymore. And he's about to die, to kill himself. He was almost suicidal. But you see what happens. The Lord understood his situation. And what did he do? He gave him food. After the food, what happened? Did he want to die anymore? He's taken to heaven. One question I want to ask Elijah when I meet him, I say, guy, do you still want to die? So you can see it's because of a momentary experience. We may be seen to be behaving in certain ways, but when that situation is addressed, we are people who still love the Lord. So even those people who curse, so to say, the Lord, may not necessarily be cursing the Lord. It's just because of the experience they're going through. That's why God understands us. That's why I say, Father, forgive them, because they don't know what they're doing. Yes, because my whole mind is to love this God, and that's why I expected in him. But the opposite has happened. I'm confused. So in the confusion, things happen. So understand that's a basic thing. If you can be able to alleviate some of the things they're going through, help, be there, listen, but don't be judgmental.
Yes.
Don't say, this is not being Christian. Remember, you're Christian. No. It's an insult. It even escalates the whole problem. So don't even defend God. You're not God. What they're telling you is truth. It's reality. So no matter whatever language they use, let it be. You can read the Psalms. The Psalms are best source of what I'm talking about. You see David and all the authors of the Psalms. Sometimes they speak things you don't want to even to listen to hear. Job himself, he says, I wish you were here. I was going to drag you into court. Where is this God? Can I find him? That kind of stuff. So it's an honest feeling. God at times seems to be embarrassing because there's silence, but God is bigger than what we are. So we cannot understand certain things. That's one thing. We need to appreciate that. Yes.
And I remember my mother even telling me that, when you get to that point, one thing we always need to remember is when it comes to prayer and just when things are going rough, is sometimes God may choose to not change the situation. Our prayers may be answered in the 4th generation.
Correct.
And I think it's a difficult thing to accept, but it's very important for us to remember that, because this God we serve is not at our level.
Correct.
He works in his own field, in his own kind of ways. Yes, exactly. So it's difficult.
It is
simply, but yeah.
It is. Personally, now this is my personal, something that has helped me is to look at what other people have gone through, like I've said before. One book that has served me well is the book of Habakkuk. If you read the book of Habakkuk, chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, it's the smallest book, by the way, in the Bible. In the first chapter, you remember that Habakkuk is a prophet, but he goes through experiences that are nasty, so to say. He prays, God doesn't seem to respond in any way. It's like God is a dumb God, is deaf God. He can't even care what is happening to his own prophet. But what you see in chapter 1, he says, I've asked this, but this happened. The opposite happens. But in chapter 2, he takes a position. He says, no matter what I've gone through, I still decide one thing to do. I'll not give up on this God. So he says, I'll watch up, I'll stand on a little tower and see what God is going to do. You know what happened? The moment he took that decision, the next verse tells you, God came in forward and told him, rewrite the vision. So in other words, continue to believe, even though the things that you have gone through are negative and kind of things. That's why you have verse 5 where it says, the righteous one or the just shall live by faith. It's a misunderstanding. The correct understanding of it to say those that are believers in the Lord will continue to be faithful in spite of what they're going through. When they've prayed before the Lord, even if there's frustration, they continue to do that. And there's one thing that Habakkuk discovered. That's what you find in chapter 2 verse 20. It says, for the Lord is in his holy temple, and let all the earth be silent. You know, when God is in the temple, in other words, he's in charge. So he is interested in your goodness and everything that you're going to get through from him. So he knows what he's doing. If you follow the history, what has gone before, you can still have confidence to say God will come back to you and it will do. So in chapter 2, he says a very important thing. He says, wait for the vision, rewrite it, make it big. In other words, believe what God has given you as your promises. It's not that you cannot trust him anymore, but sometimes they may delay. That's why I say if you think it is delaying, wait for it, because it is waiting for the appointed time. And I like the appointed time thing. You understand? I may pray I want to be married this year. But God wants you to get married after 3 years. It reminds me one thing that my professor one day shared with me in class. He talked about when God delays to fulfill your prayer request, thank him, because he's making you live longer. Because if God says yes to your prayer, he's going to give you a husband. Let me give an example of that. And he decides for some reason not to give you that husband in 2 years' time. What is he trying to tell you? If he still has to remain faithful to his answer, it means you will not die until at least the 2 years must pass until that husband comes. You get it? So if he delays for 10 years, 10 more years. I would like to live longer. Come on. So even if they say he will delay for 10, 50 years before you respond to my prayer, I'll simply say, Lord, thank you. Delay the more. Because I want to get to 100 and 150. Yes. So you can look, it's a question of how you look at it, but God can be trusted. That's the point I'm trying to say. Yes.
Wow, thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
That was Pastor Phiri with Dealing with Doubt. I hope that you have been blessed by this program and that you have seen this topic from a different perspective. You're with me, your host Adela Chokoto, right here on Hope Channel Malawi with your program Energ-Aid. Remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.
Faith of our fathers living still in spite of time, fire and sword. Oh, how our hearts beat high with joy whenever we hear that glorious word. Faith of our fathers, Lord, with faith we will be true to thee till death. Our fathers chained in prisons dark, where still in heart and conscience free, how sweet would be their children's fate by kindly words in virtue's life. Faith of our fathers, holy faith, we will be true to thee. in